Okay, so sometimes they're not going to have that negative inside of a parenthesis. So what happens here when I have negative 5 squared, but the parenthesis is not included? Well, it looks like this, actually. You've got a negative, and then you have 5 times 5. So if that parenthesis is not around it, you're just going to apply that negative sign to your answer and now think, what is 5 squared, or 5 times 5? It's 25, okay? So we're going to practice some of these where that negative's not included in the parenthesis. And these are difficult, but just remember that parenthesis is like it's grouping it together. It's associating those together. Okay, so here, I'm thinking it's the opposite of 2 to the 3rd power. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my negative down because it wasn't included. And then I'm going to solve this. So 2 to the 3rd power, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So I end up with negative 8. Okay, let's try another one. And if you need to use your calculator for that 7 to the 3rd power, that's okay. I'm not checking to see if you know all of those off the top of your head. You can use that. For those of you that maybe don't have an exponent button, some of your calculators will have buttons on them that look like this. So you would punch on your calculator like 7, and then this button here, and then 3. And then that's going to tell you what your answer is. Some of you, instead of having this button that looks like this, might have something that does maybe X to Y, or it could also be a Y to an X. Okay, either of those, and you would use the same process. You would punch in the 7 first, then one of these buttons, then the 3, and then equals. Okay, if you have a simpler calculator, you know, how would you write this out on paper if you had to write it out longhand? You would write it out like this, 7 times 7 times 7. Well, then that's exactly what you're going to punch in on your calculator, is 7 times 7 times 7. Okay, so if I go through and I solve this, my negative's going to come down in front. So 7 times 7 times 7 is going to give me 343. So it's a negative 343. Okay, here I'm not counting or using that exponent to decide is it positive or negative, because the negative was not in a parenthesis. It wasn't included with the 7. It's just sitting out in the front. So I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. You should have gotten negative 16.